Hey, Kelley.
Hey, Jen.
What are you listening to this week? Welcome to What Are You Listening To, the weekly podcast created to share music and foster positive connections one song at a time. Some of the songs are old, some new, all good. I'm Jenn Tully, and this week I'm joined by Kelley Jakle. Kelley is an actress, singer-songwriter who you know from the Pitch Perfect films, as well as her instant Christmas classics like Mistletoe and Menorahs and A Very Charming Christmas Town. You can see Kelley next in the upcoming film Parachute, premiering at South by Southwest in March. In addition to her singing and acting career, Kelley also serves as an ambassador for Special Olympics Texas. We'll learn more about how Special Olympics inspires Kelley in between the music. Also, did you know that now on Spotify, you can listen to the show with the songs we discuss incorporated? Just search for What Are You Listening To with Music. If you're not listening on Spotify, be sure to give the playlist a listen and then tune into our conversation. With that, let's get started. Kelley, what are you listening to this week?
Hello, Jen. I'm so excited to be here and so excited that it's finally Special Olympics weekend.
Yay!
Yay!
Yeah, this Special Olympics weekend is always a big weekend around the Austin area because all of the athletes come in, the coaches come in, the ambassadors come in, and we get to have a big party to celebrate these inspiring folks that come together several times a year to compete. Tell me how you got involved with Special Olympics. How did you learn about the organization?
Yeah, I originally got involved through our dear friend and your dear friend,
Yes.
Marie Lohman.
Yes.
Who is an absolute superwoman. We originally
Agreed.
met her when she sold us our house, and we sort of held her captive as a friend ever since. Yeah, I swear she works like 10 jobs and while she raises her 4 kids. She's amazing.
I know. I always joke. My canned answer used to be when people asked me what I wanted to be when I grow up, I said Marie Lohman.
That's so true. I don't know how she does all that she does, and such an amazing spirit as well throughout it all. But
True.
she's been a part of Special Olympics for a long time, and her daughter Reagan competes in several events, so it's great to be able to do this with them.
Yes, it is. And speaking of inspiring, I know we sort of use Special Olympics as a backdrop for our song choices this week. Tell me about your first song. What is it called and who sings it?
Yeah, my first song is called Humbling River, and it's by the band Puscifer. I'm a huge Maynard James Keenan fan, and all the lyrics he writes. I love Tool. I love, I'm a big fan.
Yes, he's so great. For those of you that don't know, Maynard James Keenan of Tool and Perfect Circle. Yes. And this song in particular, when you called out the lyrics and his songwriting, I mean, this song has everything. It's like a peaceful song, but it's a somber tone. Mm-hmm. So it really makes me take the message of peace more seriously, which is strange, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And peace has a lot to do with what inspires me about this song. In general, I love that he writes lyrics that tend to be open to interpretation.
Yes.
But I feel that this song has a lot of meaning, both on an individual level and on a collective level. Individually we can win awards or start companies or set world records, but although even those I think require a team effort a lot of the time.
So true.
But, we conquer these goals that use intelligence, muscle, money, and power. That we think these things are so important, but what happens when we encounter grief or when we need to navigate love and what that asks of us? And what about a need for a sense of belonging? There's so much, especially when life gets painful, we need each other.
So true. So true. And I love that, the song opens almost with like a mantra, right? Nature, nurture, heaven and home. Some of all, and by them driven to conquer every mountain shown, but I've never crossed the river. Like to me, it also it was sort of like those other things like nature, nurture, heaven, and home. I think of that as like, my family, my faith, my daughter, like all of those things. Yes, those, I'm driven by those. I'm going to conquer every mountain for those people. But the river, like that's internal, right? Like that's us. That's how we reckon with ourselves and the choices that we make and the communities we create out in the world. And so I loved the messaging around that. It really made me think about like, what is my river? What is that thing that I need to cross that I haven't looked at in a while? And I think, one of the things that I love about Special Olympics is just the perspective that it offers, right? Like having gone, like if I were to think about what my river was yesterday, and then I think about what my river is after going to these Special Olympics events, I bet you it's different. I really do. Kelley, I feel like it's probably different because I'm so inspired by these athletes and their strength of character and the coaches and their willingness to give so freely of their time. Like it's one of the most giving organizations that I've ever been a part of or, had the privilege to observe in even a small way. And I felt like this song was such a great like mantra or almost like a chant, to listen to before going into that space.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I think one of the many gifts of Special Olympics is the perspective shift it offers. Just being a part of something so special with all these incredible athletes who are just thrilled to be there and come together and in the spirit of competition, but also camaraderie and celebration.
Yes. And that brings me like maybe my favorite line is sort of towards the end of the song where he says, pay no mind to the battles you've won. It'll take a lot more than rage and muscle. Open your heart and hands, my son, or you'll never make it over the river. It'll take a lot more than words and guns, a whole lot more than riches and muscle. The hands of the many must join as one. And I was like, well, that's kind of the answer, right? Like when people are asking for the answer, I'm like, I think he kind of just gave it to us.
Yep. I love how much, again, both individually, how much we need relationships, that it's difficult to grow without relationships, and it's difficult to heal without corrective relational experiences, but also on a collective level, there are things that we just simply cannot accomplish unless we all work together. World peace being a very casual example of that.
Well, we'll solve that next episode.
Yeah, right.
Well, for your second song, so we went really deep with the first song, and you and I kind of followed the same suit, I think, when we were picking songs. And then the second song is just like, I mean, it's kind of a standard. So tell me your second pick. I'm so excited you chose this song. I've wanted to have it on the show forever.
My second song is Eye of the Tiger by Survivor. I chose this. I chose this song because it is the first song on my set list that I'll be performing tomorrow night at Special Olympics. And I remember last year, I performed it last year as well, and it seemed so energetic and inspiring and so fitting. And it was funny going to a few of the Special Olympics events prior to the performance. Eye of the Tiger turned out to be sort of a theme song for the weekend. So it kept playing. And by the time it got to our set, it was like, here it is again.
And it never gets old. It never gets old. This is one of those songs that's like a part of the culture now, right? Yeah. Like everybody knows it. And I still never skip it. If this song comes on the radio, if it plays 5 times at an event, I'm happy all 5 times.
Yeah. It's so great. And it's really fun and gets people, revved up and it's a great time.
And we'll definitely, at the end of the show, I'll give listeners, I'll give you some more information about how you can see Kelley perform at our Special Olympics event this weekend. But yeah, I think that this song is, it's, because it is such a cultural touchstone, it is something that, many of us that are my age remember from the Rocky movies. but I think that like going back and revisiting the song and listening to the lyrics, I really do have to give some credit. Like there really are some powerful messages in the song. And I think because I know all the words and because I sing it every time it comes on, I sort of just, again, I'm on rote. But when I went back and listened, I was like, wow, this is nice. You know, like so many times it happens too fast. You change your passion for glory. I was like, well, that hits a little bit differently now, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, then even too, like, I think it's so empowering, you know, rising up to the challenge of our rival. Like, okay, that's a good thing to do, you know. And I
Mhm.
think again is so fitting with what Special Olympics does. I think it's such an empowering organization.
Mhm.
That's all you see from the coaches and athletes are just messages of empowerment. There's
Mhm.
never anything other than that. And
Yeah.
so I feel like this really is kind of a perfect de facto theme song. And you said this will be this will be in the set list, or will this be the first song in the
It'll be
set
the
list?
first song in the set list.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm so
kick things
excited.
off.
I love that. I love that. Well, then we sort of transition back with my picks. I sort of
Mhm.
spoiled it a little bit that we kind of went like deep and then party song. And so for my first pick, I chose a song called 2 Million by G Flip. So had you heard this song, Kelley? Were you familiar with this
No.
artist?
No. In fact, I haven't heard either song, so it was really fun for me to get to listen to them and look at the lyrics for the first time. I would
Oh,
love to
good.
know more about why you chose these.
Yeah, I think you know, for the G Flip song, G Flip is an Australian artist, and I think that the messaging in this song and why it resonates with me, especially around Special Olympics weekend, is that it starts off and it really reinforces something that I try and remind myself of daily, that everyone has the same basic dreams, right? Like we all have the same needs. Like we have dreams for our future. We have aspirational things that we want. You know, we want to buy a house. We want to fall in love. Like all of these really basic things. And I think that everybody wants that. And we're so much more the same than we are different. And
Cheers to
this
that.
song,
Yes.
yeah, the song just feels like a reminder of that to me. Like it
Mm,
just feels like, you know, it starts with a great line that says, now I have your hand, I won't let go of you. Now I have your heart, I won't let you down. And I was like, if we could do more of that, like offer our hand and just hang on tight. And then when someone shares their heart with us, treat that with respect. That's a gift when somebody gives you their heart, right?
oh, you're gonna make me emotional. I love that. Yeah, I think that's really beautiful, and I completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that the song, like that, I think that from the very first moment I heard it, it just it resonated in that way with me. And I think you know the chorus says over and over, "The universe holds many words, ours are eternal. Before we go, let's let them know we are eternal." And again, it just reminds me like our words are powerful,
Mhm.
and be mindful of using kind ones, right?
Mhm.
Like it's forever. Those words that you say, they're out there forever.
Yeah.
And so, as much kindness and as much generosity and space, I feel like, as you can give others and yourself, like, I feel like this also applies to like the negative self chatter that
Mhm.
we give. And that's another one of the amazing perspectives that I have noticed through Special Olympics is what a great job these athletes do of preparing themselves and leading with authenticity above all
Mhm.
other things. You know, I feel
Mhm.
like that's something I don't know if you can relate to this, but having lived in Los Angeles for 15 years, authenticity sometimes feels a little bit like a struggle.
Sometimes.
Um, sometimes. And so I just love seeing the way that these athletes come with their true, authentic self
Yes.
every day, all the time, every interaction. And that's such an inspiration to me.
It really, it's so beautiful and truly so inspiring. I completely agree.
Yeah. And then for my second song, I felt like we had to just like dance it out. You know, we had Eye of the Tiger to like get us in
Mhm.
the mood. And then this song is kind of a turn it up loud when no one's in the house and just dance it out song. And my second song is Higher Power by Coldplay. So Coldplay is one of those bands where I love Coldplay. I love Chris Martin. I think he's such a dynamic performer, and he's a guy. When I'm listening to music, I always think, and I think everybody has a different opinion about music. I'd be curious to hear yours as a singer songwriter, but I really do believe that a lot of times people are like channeling their muses, right? Like sometimes it comes from like a really different place where artists get their inspiration. And I really want to know where Chris Martin's muses are coming from, because he seems to always have the right words to inspire, right?
He does. He does. I mean, he's a hit maker, that one.
Yeah, he is. He is. Well, what about for you? Whenever you're putting a song down, like especially after something as inspiring as like a Special Olympics weekend or whatever, do you feel like your inspiration for songwriting comes from another place? Does it come from your personal experience? Is it a combination? Is there anything that you can share about that?
I definitely find it's easiest to write when there is the more specific the inspiration, the easier it is. Most recently, my partner and I wrote a song for our godson, a lullaby, but right before he was born. We actually finished recording it as he was being born. It was pretty wild. Yeah.
Oh.
But from there, it felt very natural to write that, because there were so many different influences for the direction of it. It was a lullaby. We knew his parents so well, that there were so many different elements that just came naturally both to me and Mark in that situation.
Yeah, I just think it's so fascinating when people, when a song hits and the words resonate, and you can tell that they mean something to somebody, and I think that that's so special. And I'm sure, like, what a gift for your godson to have this song that knows that it'll touch probably millions of people. But at the end of the day, he knows that it's for him and he was the inspiration. How cool is that? I love that. Well, Kelley, I'm so glad you joined me for an episode. I really am so excited about Special Olympics weekend, and I'm so grateful for all the work that you do on behalf of Special Olympics. I know that there must be a billion organizations that are asking you for your time. And so again, because we are both such good friends with Marie, I know she's appreciative too. It's nice when you have a personal connection with something like this. And I'm just so grateful that you are sharing your talent with the Special Olympics Texas athletes and the whole team.
Well, it really is such a wonderful organization, and everyone there is just so full of joy and purpose and gratitude. It's an honor to be a part of it.
I could not agree more. And listeners, for more information about how you can get involved, visit www.sotx.org/winter-games. And to keep up with all of Kelley's upcoming projects, you can subscribe to her Patreon, where she releases new music and videos every month for patrons at patreon.com/Kelley Jakle. That's patreon.com/KELLEYJAKLE. And please be sure to follow, download, and share the show with everyone you know, and even the people you'd just like to know, because music is a great way to connect. And please join us this weekend at Star Hill Ranch for the opening ceremonies / victory dance of Special Olympics. It's free and open to the public, and that's from 7 to 9 p.m. this Saturday night. And you can see Kelley perform. And spoiler alert, she already gave us the first song on the set list. So if you want to see Eye of the Tiger live, please come out to Star Hill Ranch Saturday night and join us. To stay informed on all things Super Awesome Mix and What Are You Listening To, you can follow us on Instagram at Super Awesome Mix. Thanks for listening, and please join me again next week to find your new favorite song.